Look, I get it. You just closed a major case. And things with your mother are complicated. And hey, you found the swordsman, and believe me, we are grateful and in no position to ask for a favor. But there's a killer taking us out one by one, so we need Cassandra Killjoy to get back to work. And thus, a new era begins. An era of gods and monsters, of saviors and destroyers. But in these tumultuous times, it won't be easy to tell the heroes from the monsters. Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and welcome back to DCember. Now, a quick disclaimer before we begin. Creature Commandos is not for kids. It has the occasional sexual situation, a very fair amount of gore, and lots of curse words.
You motherfucker.
You've been warned. Now, there's a bit of debate as to when exactly James Gunn's new DCU actually began, as technically, the first thing produced under his leadership was the documentary Superman. And technically, the first DC project that he wrote and directed was actually The Suicide Squad, which actually shares continuity with the current movies and shows. However, Creature Commandos was the first scripted release after the rebrand. So, here we are now. So, for the sake of brevity, let's please put the nerd scrutiny aside and let's just jump into some secret origins. After the success of The Suicide Squad and Season 1 of Peacemaker, James Gunn was offered the opportunity to produce a DC-based animated series for HBO Max, something that was adult-oriented, in order to replace the massively successful Harley Quinn animated series, which was coming to an end. Gunn turned in multiple spec scripts with ideas for shows, with Creature Commandos being one of the most popular in the bunch. 1 year later, the decision was made to reboot and rebrand the DCEU into the new DC Studios, and James Gunn and Peter Safran were chosen as the new heads of the division. So, as they were outlining their 5-year plan for the new DCU, they decided to go ahead and greenlight Creature Commandos and fold it into the continuity of the new franchise. And thus, the show was alive. The plot. The sorceress, Cersei, is on the verge of causing an international incident in the sovereign nation of Pokolistan. Amanda Waller is tasked with putting an end to it, but she has lost access to Task Force X after the events of the Suicide Squad. Apparently, she is forbidden from using incarcerated people as operatives, so she chooses operatives who aren't people. Task Force M, also known as the Creature Commandos. The problem is that these highly volatile individuals are taking on an extremely delicate socio-political conflict. So, will they complete their mission or give in to their baser instincts and be monsters?
That's just another human out there in the pond. But you're a monster, like us.
Cast and characters. While this show has a brilliant, well-constructed narrative, it is extremely character-driven. We have a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. Starting with the Weasel, played by Sean Gunn. The backbone of the team, the attack dog, and pseudo-lycanthrope of the Commandos. While Weasel seems like a feral anthropomorphic beast, his rough exterior hides a gentler, more tragic figure.
I wonder what he's dreaming about.
Probably just chasing squirrels.
G.I. Robot, also played by Sean Gunn. Built during World War II in order to kill Nazis. Oh boy. G.I. was decommissioned after the war and drifted for over 70 years before being requisitioned for Task Force M. And while many believe him to be a single-minded killing machine, there's actually a loving, caring soul under that cold, metallic exterior.
Friend Nina, my disappointment in having no Nazis to kill when I arrived is lessened by my pleasure that you are alive.
Dr. Phosphorus, played by Alan Tudyk. a former physicist turned into an irradiated glowing skeleton by Gotham's criminal underclass. He briefly became a supervillain, but is now an incarcerated, unclassified sapient. Phosphorus puts on an apathetic facade to hide his grief, as he is secretly one of the most empathic members of the group, as his careless attitude is actually due to the fact that he has no one to care for, and his newfound family might just be what the doctor ordered.
Hey, give me that. There you go. Now everyone's happy, right? Except for you, because you no longer have food. And you're ugly.
Nina Masurski, played by Zoe Chao, a timid merwoman with no discernible special abilities outside of breathing water, and alas, the only decent person in the whole group. Nina is the heart and the conscience of the Commandos, a sweet little voice that reminds our monstrous anti-heroes to do good.
Thank you. She means to say thank you.
No, I don't mean anything of the sort.
Rick Flag Sr., played by Frank Grillo. Flag is the connective tissue of the new DCU, the only character to be in all the installments thus far. It is through him that we witness the rise of the metahumans, and the public's change in opinion about them. In this show, we see the beginning of his arc, as at this point, he is still willing to accept and work with metas, but that willingness slowly starts to shift, as he witnesses them going rogue time and time again.
Should I kill the professor?
What? No.
A few of the kids?
No. Why are you killing anyone?
You just said you wanted me to be a hero.
Not like that.
The Bride, played by Indira Varma, the unofficial field commander of the team. The Bride shares the same origin with her literary counterpart, as she was created to be the mate of Frankenstein's monster. But unlike the source material, Frankenstein actually did bring her to life. But unfortunately, she has no feelings for his original creation, who is brilliantly played by David Harbour. Oh, and the reason that she doesn't love him is because he's a f***ing asshole. Seriously, James Gunn turned Frankenstein's monster into the worst kind of monster. A dumbass dude bro ex-boyfriend, which would make even an undead immortal femme fatale run for her life. Unfortunately, her constant mobility has robbed her of laying down roots and having a stable life, something she might just find in the most unorthodox of people, or should I say, monsters.
What you looking at, Manic Panic?
Give her back her food.
Season 1. Like most of James Gunn's previous comic book adaptations, this one too is about a found family of misfits. But the big difference is that there is no possible way any of these characters could fit in normal human society, be it by their nature or their appearance. So, ultimately, all they have is each other, a circumstance that most of them resist at first, but in the end, come to accept, because it is better to place your trust in those who bear their flaws out in the open than those who hide behind a false public persona. Most of Season 1 explores what it actually means to be a monster. And of course, as the show explains over and over again, being a monster has little to do with appearance or origin. Most of the time, the true monster is the person you least expect. This is showcased through each of the Commandos' origins, as they each have very acceptable, be it tragic, circumstances by which they became who they are. The people around them, the soldiers, agents, politicians, and royals, have no real excuse for their behavior. They are just different people with different agendas. And the Commandos are essentially off-the-books janitors, who are sent to clean up their messes. The question is, will they follow orders and be good little operatives, or do things their way and do the devious, dirty work that no sane human would ever do? Actions that would only be undertaken by monsters.
You wanted monsters? You got monsters.
Tone-wise, while the action and the extremely dark humor that James Gunn is known for is definitely present, don't kid yourself, kids, because this is definitely a horror show. Disturbing, fear-inducing, and very, very tragic. Here, Gunn fully embraces the genre that birthed these characters and doesn't hold back. The world turned these unfortunate individuals into terrors. So terrors they shall be. And this show doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's very, very clear that while this might be a comic book show, and while it might take place in the DC universe, these are not superheroes, or heroes of any kind for that matter. These are the characters that were never ever intended to be protagonists, but now have been pushed to the foreground, right under the spotlight, center stage. So, who will they become in their newly appointed roles?
What did he ever do to you?
You saw the hat, right?
Why are we doing this again?
Now, the show does end with an epilogue that heavily implies that another season is underway. But now, James Gunn is really busy running the DCU, and his top priority seems to be producing a sequel to Superman. So only time will tell if we ever actually see the Commandos again. Personally, I really hope we do. Final verdict. While this was a very unorthodox way to start the new DCU, it was not a bad one. It showed that Gunn was willing to go places where Marvel wouldn't go right out of the gate. That, at least the streaming shows, were willing to take chances and spotlight obscure characters. Because if Gunn can make excellent protagonists out of a bunch of monsters, imagine what he can do with actual heroes of the DCU. 10 points on the badassitude meter! Assemble your squad, watch out for Nazis, and give it a watch. Until next time, I'm Erod, and I'm the Blockbuster Buster.